All my love is for you.
When you for 3 days and take the hand and take him out of the man's hand, then you are a retired pimp.
Yeah! What Teddy Riley just revealed about Aaron Hall isn't just drama. It flips the whole Guy story on its head. Because while we were all vibing to the hits, behind closed doors, Teddy was clashing with the very voice that helped define New Jack Swing.
No, he wanted to, but he was like, I'm not singing anymore unless we are on our own.
Aaron felt sidelined, Teddy felt disrespected, and what started as creative tension spiraled into public outbursts, tour meltdowns, and legal chaos.
We turned on the TV, and we seen on the news that my best friend got killed.
Anthony B.
Anthony B. Yeah.
Throw in a murdered friend, shady management, and a connection to Diddy, and suddenly, the smooth sound of Guy doesn't sound so smooth anymore. From the very start, the group Guy was Teddy Riley's creation. He was the one who came up with the sound, made the music, and shaped the group's style. Teddy was very young at the time, only 19 years old, but people already saw him as a music genius. He was smart with beats and knew how to make songs that sounded fresh and exciting. He didn't just play music, he created a whole new sound that later became known as New Jack Swing. But while Teddy was the brains behind the music, Aaron Hall was the voice. His singing was full of passion and soul, influenced by gospel music. His voice was strong, raw, and emotional. When people heard him sing, they felt something. That voice helped define the sound of the group. Together, it looked like a perfect team. One had the talent for producing, and the other had the voice that made people stop and listen. But behind the scenes, things were not as perfect as they looked. While fans saw them as a dream team, the truth was that there was tension growing between Teddy Riley and Aaron Hall. Teddy wasn't just focused on Guy, he was already working with other big names in music like Keith Sweat and Bobby Brown. He was quietly building his own name and career outside the group. Aaron, on the other hand, felt like he wasn't getting the credit he deserved. He wasn't just a singer. He wanted to be seen as a full artist, someone who helped shape the music too. But the spotlight kept going to Teddy. The media and the music industry started calling Teddy the genius. That hurt Aaron. He felt like he was being treated like he didn't matter, like he was just there to sing and nothing more. The two men had very different personalities, which made things even harder. Teddy Riley was quiet and serious. He liked order and control. He enjoyed spending hours in the studio, carefully working on songs. He didn't show a lot of emotion and kept things professional. Aaron Hall was the complete opposite. He was loud, emotional, and full of energy. He didn't want to be controlled.
No, he wanted to, but he was like, I'm not singing anymore unless we are on our own.
He wanted to feel free to express himself. He was the kind of person who acted on how he felt in the moment. That's how he liked to sing, too. With real feelings, not just following a plan. These two different ways of working caused a lot of problems. Teddy wanted structure, and Aaron wanted freedom. That made it hard for them to agree. Aaron started to feel like he was just a worker in the group, not a partner. He didn't write the songs, he didn't make the beats. Teddy did all of that. Aaron just came in to sing. And while Teddy was getting calls from superstars like Michael Jackson, Aaron was stuck watching from the side. That made him very angry. He started to speak out in interviews. He didn't hide his feelings. He said he felt like a hired voice, not part of the creative process. He thought Teddy was getting all the credit while he was being left behind. Over time, that anger turned into deep resentment. By the time Guy started working on their second album, The relationship between Teddy and Aaron had gotten worse. In the studio, there were many fights.
So the whole altercation happened. We took the New Edition guy tour.
Aaron would yell at Teddy for making decisions without talking to him. Teddy would get upset when Aaron didn't show up on time or acted out. There were stories of Aaron walking out of studio sessions or refusing to sing because he didn't agree with something. Teddy also started changing Aaron's vocals without telling him, re-recording parts or tweaking his voice to fit the song. That made Aaron even more upset. He felt disrespected and ignored. Things didn't get better when they went on tour. Aaron didn't like the way Teddy controlled the live shows either. Teddy picked the songs and decided how the show would run. Aaron wanted to do things his way. Sometimes, he would change the lyrics while performing or sing something unexpected just to show he was still in control of his voice. People close to the group said that Aaron even made small jokes on stage that were meant to insult Teddy, without the fans knowing. That made performing together very difficult. There was a moment when things got really serious. Teddy spoke later about an incident involving the group New Edition. He said it made him feel scared for his safety. The music world wasn't just about songs and fame. It was also full of stress, betrayal, and pressure. Teddy started to feel like he was fighting battles, not just with Aaron, but with the whole industry. At the same time, Aaron was getting tired of waiting to be seen as a true artist. He began looking for solo chances and talked in public about how he felt he was being left out. He said managers weren't treating him fairly and he wanted more respect. For many years, the two men hardly spoke. Even when Guy came back for reunion concerts in the late 1990s and early 2000s, people could tell the tension was still there. They performed together, but they didn't seem close. In interviews, they were careful with their words. They talked about the group, but they didn't talk about each other very much. It was like they were trying to avoid the real problems. Then, Aaron did an interview with Bishop Don Magic Juan. This interview got a lot of attention. Aaron acted wild during the talk. He made strange comments and talked badly about Teddy Riley. He said Teddy was a diva who always needed bodyguards. He said Teddy never gave him respect. Aaron even bragged about things he had done in public that made many people uncomfortable. He said actors like Jamie Foxx and Denzel Washington had seen him do these things, and he was proud of it. Many people thought Aaron was just trying to get attention by saying shocking things.
I just grabbed her and she'll tell you the same story. I just grabbed her and f***ed her for 3 days, then Aaron's got on a with an apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Like it's Aaron.
I mean, it was like...
When people asked Teddy Riley how he felt about that interview, he stayed calm. He didn't say anything mean about Aaron. He said people who act like that often feel sad inside or jealous. Teddy said he didn't want to fight. He said he was embarrassed by what Aaron said and that he had to turn away when watching the video. Teddy felt that now they were older, they should act more mature. He said if they ever went on tour again, things would have to be different. Teddy also said that Aaron talked too much about money and being a pimp.
When you for 3 days and take the hand and take him out of the man's hand, then you are a retired pimp.
Yeah!
He thought that wasn't a good image. Teddy said he still loved Aaron like a brother. He also cared about Aaron's brother Damien. But Teddy had changed. He wanted a quiet life now. He spent most of his time in his music studio. That was his peaceful place. He said he didn't want to go back to the chaos of the past. He said that if someone asked him to tour or do a big project, he would only say yes if it felt right. If it felt like it was going to bring back the old drama, he would walk away, even if there was a contract. There were a few times when Teddy and Aaron tried to reunite. They got on stage again. Fans were happy to see them, but the same problems kept coming back. Aaron still talked about being flashy, rich, and powerful. He said things that made Teddy feel uncomfortable. Teddy said he had grown up. He wanted peace and respect. Aaron still wanted to live wild and loud. That difference made it hard to keep working together.
A whole lot of out there from Jamie Foxx to like Denzel Washington to to whoever. Everybody know me.
Yeah.
So everybody know if I say it, I'm going to f it to death.
Even though they were once like brothers, their relationship never returned to what it used to be. The pain and problems were too deep. Fans were sad, but they also understood. Some things just can't go back to the way they were. Now let's look at another part of the story. Aaron's connection to Diddy, also known as Sean Combs.
You feel me? Do that shit, do that shit, do it, do that shit, do that shit, and you do it.
Back in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Sean Combs was just starting out. He worked with Uptown Records and helped bring R&B and hip-hop together. Later, he started his own company called Bad Boy Records. He had big dreams and a sharp eye for talent. Diddy wanted to take the New Jack Swing sound and push it even further. Aaron was already a big name in R&B because of his work with Guy.
All my love is for you.
His voice was a perfect match for the kind of music Diddy wanted to make. Music that mixed strong beats, deep emotion, and a street feel. Aaron's voice helped lay the foundation for that kind of music. While Diddy worked with stars like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, and the Notorious Big, it was clear that Aaron and the group Guy had opened the door for that sound. Their style made it easier for those new acts to succeed. There were times when Aaron and Diddy were in the same places. They didn't always work together, but they knew about each other. They respected what the other one was doing. Both of them had a big effect on music, especially R&B and hip-hop. Aaron Hall was known for his strong, bold voice. Diddy, on the other hand, was known for making big moves in hip-hop and bringing R&B into that world. Even though they didn't team up often, they both helped push the sound forward in their own ways. New York and New Jersey had a close music scene. A lot of artists, producers, and record labels were working together. Diddy and Aaron were part of this world. Even if they didn't work on songs together, they were often around the same people. Some of Aaron's songs had help from people who were connected to Diddy. Aaron never signed to Diddy's Bad Boy label, but there were times when their work touched the same space. It shows how small the music world was back then. Aaron's voice and style helped inspire singers like Mary J. Blige and Faith Evans. Without Aaron, the sound that Diddy made famous might not have happened. After their early success, the group Guy joined a big music tour with New Edition.
Listen.
Both groups had many fans, and people were excited to see them perform on the same stage. This tour was supposed to be something special, something fun. But things didn't go as planned. Right from the start, problems began. Teddy said the tour was meant to be fair for both groups. Their manager, Gene Griffin, also said the deal had to be equal. If not, Guy wouldn't join the tour.
Gene wasn't taking nothing less, so he was like, listen, we're going to make this thing equal, or we ain't doing this at all. Gene talked to everybody like that.
The person who helped set up the tour, Al Heyman, agreed that both groups would share the stage and get the same attention. No group was supposed to be treated better than the other. The first concert of the tour was held in Hartford, Connecticut. But even before the show started, there was already trouble. The two groups could not agree on who would perform first. It might sound like a small issue, but in music, it matters a lot who gets to go last, because that group usually feels like the star of the night. After a long talk, they came up with a plan. If the concert was in a place where Guy had more fans, they would perform last. If New Edition had more fans in that city, then they would close the show. It sounded like a fair deal. But even with this agreement, there was still tension. Some people in both groups were not happy with the arrangement and still felt like they were being treated unfairly.
Okay, so we're going to do it this way. The cities where Guy have the popular demand is the cities that Guy will go on last.
Teddy said he looked up to New Edition. They were already famous before Guy became popular. He respected them and didn't want to compete. He just wanted to make music, perform, and make the fans happy. For Teddy, it wasn't about who was better, but some members of Guy didn't feel the same way. Aaron Hall, Damian Hall, Timmy Gatling, and Gene Griffin wanted Guy to be seen as just as important as New Edition. They didn't want to look smaller or weaker. They wanted to be the best group on the stage. Teddy stayed calm and tried to avoid problems. He believed that the music should do the talking, not arguments or fights.
I'm not a competitive person, you know. I like to work with everybody, so I'm not one to be like, we better or we're this.
But the problems didn't stop. It wasn't only the singers who had trouble with each other. The people who worked behind the scenes, like stage crews, light operators, and sound people, also started having problems. There were arguments backstage at the very first concert. People argued about how much space each group got, who could use certain lights, and how long each group could perform. It wasn't just a music tour anymore. It became a battle for respect and power behind the scenes. The bad feelings grew stronger every night. By this time, Bobby had already left New Edition to start his solo career. Johnny Gill had joined the group and was doing a good job. But the problems between the two groups kept growing. At many shows, arguments almost turned into fights. Teddy said that some shows were so tense, it felt like something bad could happen at any moment. It wasn't fun anymore. People were shouting about equipment, time, and who was treated better. The focus was no longer on making good music or having fun. It became stressful and dangerous. Then, something very tragic happened that changed everything. After one of their shows, the group went back to their hotel. They were all tired and planned to leave early the next morning. But one of them overslept, so they left later than they were supposed to. When they arrived in Pittsburgh, they noticed something strange right away. Fire trucks, police cars, and ambulances were all outside the hotel. The front entrance was blocked. They were told to go in through the back. Something bad had clearly happened, but they didn't know what yet.
The next thing you know, we seen fire trucks, ambulance, police, mini cars. We couldn't even get into the hotel. They took us around the back.
Teddy's brother, Sifu, and their friend, Abdul Mu, went to find out what was going on. One of their other brothers told the hotel security to take Teddy and the other members straight to their rooms. Their manager, Gene, had given that order because news reporters were outside asking questions. Gene didn't want the group talking to the press or being caught on camera. When Teddy and his group got to their rooms, they turned on the TV. That's when they saw the news. Teddy's best friend, Anthony B., had been shot and killed. The person who shot him worked with New Edition. Teddy was shocked. He couldn't believe it. Anthony B. wasn't just a friend. He was like a brother.
We turned on the TV and we seen on the news that my best friend got killed.
Anthony B.
Anthony B. Yeah.
Teddy explained that Anthony B. had been in Harlem before all this happened. But when he heard something was wrong, he rushed to join Teddy on tour. He came with other friends from Harlem, including a man named Vaughn. They packed a car with their things, including weapons, and Anthony B. was the one driving. Teddy also mentioned another man named Mike Floyd, who was with them. When they got to the hotel, they had no idea what was waiting. Later, the news reported that Anthony B. was shot 4 times in the back, right at the revolving doors of the Marriott Hotel. The shooter was someone from New Edition's team. It wasn't a rumor. The news confirmed it. Teddy was heartbroken. He said Anthony B. came just to protect him. He left Harlem and joined the tour because he cared about Teddy. That loss hurt deeply. Everything changed after that. What was supposed to be a fun music tour turned into something dark and sad. People were angry, hurt, and scared. It was no longer just about 2 music groups sharing a stage. It became a painful memory filled with drama, fights, and even death. The group had 3 members at the beginning: Teddy, Aaron, and Timmy Gatling. They were young, full of talent, and excited about their future. But even though things looked good on the outside, trouble was already happening behind the scenes. Timmy left the group before the first album was even finished. Why did he leave? There were many reasons, but the main one was because of problems between the group members. Teddy often found himself stuck in the middle when Aaron and Timmy didn't get along.
There's many altercations, but the real altercation, because I used to always say, man, we don't need to be fighting, man. If y'all gonna fight, I don't want to be a part of this.
They argued a lot, sometimes about music, sometimes about who was better with women. They even had physical fights. Teddy would try to calm them down. He didn't like fighting and told them, "If y'all keep fighting, I don't want to be a part of this." Sometimes they listened, but not always. One day, in the middle of recording a song called You Can Call Me Crazy,
You know that is true. You can call me crazy.
Timmy just quit. It happened so fast. He walked in, hugged Teddy, and said, "I'm done. I'm out. Good luck." Then he walked out the door. Teddy was shocked. He looked at Aaron, then at Gene Griffin, their manager. No one said much. Aaron seemed happy, but stayed quiet. Gene was a tough man, and no one wanted to make him angry.
I was puzzled. Like, he came in, gave me a pound, gave me a hug. He's like, "I'm done. I'm out. Good luck." I was like, what?
After Timmy left, the group had to figure out what to do. They needed a new member. Aaron said he had someone in mind, his younger brother, Damian Hall. Aaron traveled to Virginia to talk to Damian, who was still in college. Damian came to New York and visited the studio. He saw Teddy working on music and was impressed. He said, "Yo, who is this dude making all these beats?" Teddy and Damian clicked right away. The group had problems not just with each other, but with their manager, Gene Griffin. Teddy later said that Gene took money from them. Even though Guy became very popular, Teddy said they didn't get paid what they deserved. He said they made about $2 million, but he only got $400,000. That didn't seem fair. Teddy filed a lawsuit for $6 million against Gene for this. He felt betrayed.
We did make that song, and Aaron Hall, his publishing was stolen by Gene Griffin.
Okay.
And I'm setting the record straight.
The money problems hurt the group deeply. When people don't trust each other, it's hard to work together. Teddy said Gene was very controlling. He didn't just manage the group, he controlled the money, the music, and even how they lived. This made the members feel trapped. They wanted more say in their careers in music, but Gene didn't give them that freedom. Over time, these pressures made it hard for the group to stay together. Tours were stressful. They had problems with fans, with people they worked with, and even with safety. All of this made things worse between them. The members started to feel like they needed to take control of their own lives. That's why Timmy left. That's why Teddy later took legal action. Everyone wanted peace, freedom, and fairness.